Good evening, I'm Camden Cohn, and our Sports Ticker is brought to you by the experienced advisors at Stonebridge Wealth Systems. Yesterday, Nebraska track and field high jumper Tyus Wilson won the gold medal at the NACAC Championships in the Bahamas. Wilson jumped just over 7 feet 4 inches. He also won the USA Track and Field Outdoor Championships 2 weeks ago. In other Husker news, 16 members of the Nebraska women's gymnastics squad were selected as WGCA Scholastic All-Americans. In order to be an All-American, athletes must maintain a GPA of 3.5 or higher. Emma Spence and Lucy Stanhope were named Big Ten Distinguished Scholars earlier this year, as well as they both held a 4.0 GPA. And finally, it's another busy day in Major League Baseball. There's one game that's already final as the Brewers shut out the Cubs 7-0. Currently, the Marlins lead the Cardinals 1-0 in the top of the second. They're scoreless in Detroit between the Tigers and the Astros. They're in the top of the second there. Headed to the bottom of the second, scoreless between the Blue Jays and the Pirates. And at the end of the first inning, the Phillies and the Mariners are scoreless as well. Our Sports Ticker is brought to you by Stonebridge Wealth Systems, navigating you to and through the retirement of your dreams. Local advisors, a disciplined process, the retirement compass. Visit StonebridgeIWM.com. Hour 1 of Sports Nightly is up next, right here on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who remind you to buckle up and put the phone down.
70 shoot high lob, caught by Petrie somehow underneath, in trouble, got to Hank for three. Yay! Gotcha! Huskers made something out of nothing. I don't know how Petrie got it to Kellen Hank, who buried the Central Valley Egg three.
Dice has the sign. He collects the 3-2 pitch. Strike three called. Casey Dice finishes it for Nebraska. The dog pile is on. The Nebraska Cornhuskers have run the table and run it back. Back-to-back Big Ten tournament champions.
Pass made Franklin, the slide, Robinson, block back! Call the grandkids! They did it! Nebraska sweeps Wisconsin for the third time this season. And hello, Louisville! The Big Red back where it belongs. The Final Four, number 18 in school history.
Now, here are your hosts, Jessica Coody and Kyle Crooks on the Huskers Radio Network.
Hey everybody, happy Monday to you. We went out to Husker Volleyball on Saturday night. Have you gotten the roof, roof, roof chant out of your head yet?
Yes, so I am learning the ways of Husker fans, specifically Husker volleyball fans, of all the intricacies of a Husker volleyball match. So roof, roof, roof on a block at the net, and I will be doing that as well at future matches.
So if someone listening in knows the story behind it, he asked me where it came from. I asked a couple of folks, and they said that they know that that chant dates back to when the Huskers played in the Coliseum. So started then. I'm not sure exactly how and when, but it's been a long time tradition because we were standing there, got a block, and Kyle was like, what are they saying? And so we then every time he's like, roof, 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 every time there's a block. So
originally I thought it was like what you would say when you would mimic a dog, like rough, rough, rough. But no, she's like,
roof
it's
is
roof,
on
roof,
fire.
Roof.
Yeah.
But you got to do this. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm waving my hands, all 10 fingers, and I'm waving my hands. So I'm getting that was the second volleyball match that I've been to. There's only been 2 so far since I've been here. So now they'll be at PBA to start a new season. That starts on Friday. We'll have all the coverage, the entire season. And I will. That's right down the street from where I live. So that'll be probably around like 15,000 in there at PBA?
Yeah, I was going to look up too. So Purdue recently got the indoor record for attendance, and I'm not sure if PBA can break it or not. I was going to look into that for later in the week. Maybe you can check on that. So I do know. So Nebraska, of course, holds the overall record with the stadium match, but indoor was just taken from Nebraska. So I do think that's maybe something they'll look to. I think PBA can break it, but I'm not sure on that.
So 15,290 for volleyball, about 15,500 for basketball games. Essentially, it's probably a little under what an NBA arena would be. Bigger than most college basketball arenas is what Nebraska Hoops men's and women's plays in. So volleyball will get that opportunity starting on Friday, and they'll take a national stage as well because that first match is going to be on Fox, which is really unique. We've seen with softball, they've taken that jump to network television where they're playing on certain games or on ABC. But to see volleyball now, the investment, the Big Ten and their deal with Fox and the other networks, they probably have the best media deal of all the conferences. That first match is going to be on Fox on Friday.
So I did speak wrong. So Purdue had broken had broken it, but then last year, actually, the Final Four in Louisville, Kentucky at the KFC Yum Center, they took both. It was when Penn State defeated Louisville on December 22nd, 2024. So last year's national championship match in Louisville is number 2 behind the 92,000.
And what was the number you said for the indoor? Did you have
21,000.
21,860. Unless you build,
so PBA is not going to get it.
Unless you build a brand new wing of the building. Now, I'll say this. If Pinnacle Bank Arena was capacity 25,000, there would be 25,000 people in that arena, and you'd break that record. But you can there's fire codes to adhere to.
I'm not sure why I thought Purdue was involved in that, but I'm not sure where I got that. But maybe a home match. I'm not sure. But so anyways, the gotta waste. Maybe Nebraska will be in a Final Four arena that I don't know. Where's the Final Four this year? I should know this. Kansas City. So, but is the arena, does it hold more than 21,000, Camden? Do we know? Okay, we'll
I
look
would
into
say
that.
I would say probably not. I would say most of those arenas are around 17 to 19. We can look that up, though. We do know this. There'll be about 70,000 or so in Kansas City for the first football game. So that's the T-Mobile Center. Have to get the capacity for that. But I would tell you this, probably not going to be north of 20,000.
Well, at
I
least
got 18,000.
18,
18.
yeah. Right around 17 and 19 usually are what those arenas are.
Well, at least that 92,000 still remains at number 1.
And it will stay for a
and
long,
nobody's
long time.
getting close to that one. But anyways, have some people chiming in on the chat. Roof is because it's called a roof block. A roof block is when you block it and it goes straight to the floor.
Okay.
So when your hands go over that, putting a roof on it, so to speak. So
Right.
there you go.
And that's why we mimic that motion, the crowd.
Yeah. So anyways, but we heard a lot from Danny Busman Kelly. I know Lauren Cook West had thoughts after. It's pretty competitive, right? I mean, I think there was some times that the alumni squad was playing really well and really tested this group. And so I think, as Danny had said post-match, that it was really good for this squad, and they are going to take a lot away from it. So we'll see now where they solidify those lineups, at least going into match number 1. And as we've talked a lot about, could change quite a bit. But I think Bergen Riley settled in as the setter. I think she's going to be the number 1 setter. I think Laney will she got the start at libero, but then midway through, Laney wore the black jersey, and then Olivia wore the black jersey, Olivia Malk, and then Laney came in as a DS, and I do think that maybe we'll see Laney. That'd be my guess, Laney as the starting libero on Friday. But I think Bergen certainly looked the part at setter on Saturday.
And how about the match for Andy Jackson as well? And one of the things that she'd been working on is being at that service line, being effective from a service line. She had a 4-point run at one point, back-to-back aces, and she said in the post game, chat with the media, that's one area of her game that she really had been working on. But she also had 11 kills. Harper Murray was exactly what we'd expect for her. She was the star of the match, 12 kills for her. I think you look at it from their vantage point of the current Huskers, you look across the net, these are some of the players that they idolize, and now all of a sudden they're in this competitive atmosphere where they're trying to beat them. And you're right. I mean, and DBK said it as well in the post-match. They gave them everything that they needed in terms of being able to evaluate this roster. Yeah, it was something for the fans that was great. It was nostalgic, but also Danny's at a point in time where she needs to really narrow down this lineup, get an idea of who the starters are going to be. And the alumni's put her in a situation where she was able to evaluate and really gave them some really good competition.
Back to Andy Jackson, I thought she looked phenomenal. I thought she had some really big flashes, which you'll see. She has some of those jaw-dropping plays quite often throughout matches.
Yeah, and you mentioned some of the competition as well. So Bergen Riley seems like probably going to be your starter at center, and Lainey Choboy. But all these things, you could say, okay, who starts match one? But that necessarily, it might change a week, 2 weeks from now, a month from now. The reality is you have so much depth on this team that, for the players and for the fans, you make a whole lot about who's going to start in match one against Pittsburgh. But the good thing is that you have so many players, and the depth is just, it's so vast when you look at how many players that can play at a high level, at an all-conference level.
I've told this story before, but I still think it's kind of funny and still true. But my dad and brother were at that stadium match, and they're not – my dad watches volleyball quite a bit, being an administrator in Texas where volleyball is huge. My brother had not. I was not there. But they were texting me that they were like – because big basketball family, my dad was a basketball coach, that like, number 15 in the layup line is athletic. Just what you could see, just what she was doing in warm-ups were – with Andy Jackson. And I told Jalen Reyes that story, and he said, absolutely. I mean, and Shane pointed it out in the chat, she can jump out of the gym, just unbelievable athleticism. And she came in a little green, but had that wow factor in terms of her athletic ability. And you've seen now that she continues to develop. And I even talked to Jalen about this last year. Could Andy at some point be a 6 rotation player? And he said, absolutely. She can do everything on the volleyball court. So now you see that serve element out of her game, and so she continues to add to it. As electric as she was last year, she's still continuing to add and be even better and contribute in multiple ways. Yeah,
I mean, she's building off what was an incredible season last year, and then you think of the middle blocker position, right? Has to be the deepest of any team in the country. I mean, I'm a novice to the sport. I'm learning more and more about this sport. But when you have a tandem of Andy Jackson and Rebecca Alec, and then you have a Kenna Cogill who comes off the bench and Obeche who comes off the bench, and 2 freshmen who are maybe not going to play this giant role here in year one because of who you have in front of them. But to be 4 deep at that position with 4 players who have just an incredible ceiling, that's depth. That just shows you the bigger picture of how deep this team is.
Who was your favorite alumni to watch?
Going through, who was yours? You go first.
Well, I obviously love watching Lauren Stivrins, but Jordan Larson, how could you go against the GOAT? But I am going to go with who was on the dig last week, who helped assemble the team. How about Kelly Natter and getting back out there? And she was phenomenal, especially being that she hadn't played with a couple of them, but not all of them. They had like a 30-minute practice, and her parents are awesome. We got a chance to chat with her dad. You met her dad. So I'll give it up to the setter, Kelly.
Allie Batenhorst as well was there. And you were telling me, so she's doing beach volleyball?
Yep.
So there's different adjustments, right, to now playing indoor to beach?
Yeah, and she had said that she hadn't even been on a court since she retired or made the move to the beach back in, what was that, May? So she is pursuing, she's with the reigning world champion, and they're working that out. We had her on last week, if you missed that conversation. But it's pretty fascinating, but it's working out really well. She has a game. Her game translates well to the beach. And so she very well could be an Olympian for Team USA Beach Volleyball coming up in Los Angeles, which would be really, really cool. So
I think it was interesting in observing the fans for a second consecutive match. The fans didn't necessarily know. They couldn't go all in on rooting for one side, right? Because you have the alums that are former Huskers, and you don't want to give too much to the current Huskers. You want to give this balance. So you think of the energy inside John Cook Arena. It's going to amplify once you have an actual opponent in here. It was a crowd that was figuring out how to necessarily cheer, but cheer for both sides. That was the interesting part of it.
Lauren was obviously fantastic. She even mentioned, too, kind of funny how we were talking, okay, let's get through talking season with football. She said the same thing. I'm done with scrimmages. Let's just play. Let's get this thing rolling. But she had talked about maybe seeing some nerves, which I think could be expected, even though they had a couple matches in the spring that, the first time getting out there. And because, as we've heard Danny talk a lot about, we've heard Kelly talk, Kelly was on last week, that they have rotated so much that maybe some of these, lineups will continue to build that chemistry, that it might not be perfect. And of course, you don't want to peak right now. This is not when you want to be playing your best volleyball. But as you settle into more of the lineups, especially during matches, they'll continue to build that chemistry. But because they've mixed it up, it's allowed for, different the competition and it to be very competitive. But I think once now you get closer to the season, and we'll be able to talk to Coach Danny about this tomorrow night. She'll be live on the air 6 to 7 tomorrow night for our first Husker volleyball show. But I would imagine that, as much as she likes that competition, maybe now you can maybe start settling into some lineups and really building that chemistry.
And it also accelerates where you want your team to be when you consider 3 of the first 4. You're taking on Pitt, Stanford opening weekend, and then Kentucky, who's essentially the class of the SEC. So if you're Danny, you want to get everybody in the right spot and get everybody comfortable, but it's important because of who you have right out of the gate with some of the powers in the country.
Shane also added this. How about Kenzie Maloney's foot save? You were in there for that, right?
I believe I did see that, yeah.
Where she?
We were in a spot where we were in the tunnel, Jess, so I was
couldn't
watching.
see the opposite side of the court, but yeah, it was fun.
Good to see Jordan Larson
Yeah.
there as well. So obviously a lot of fanfare for her, but I just think overall it was a success in a lot of different ways. It's something that I would think would be a consistent thing on a yearly basis because there's so many great players that are still playing professionally, or maybe they're just done professionally, but still can be pretty competitive in this type of setting. This sets the stage for what can be an annual tradition of celebrating Nebraska volleyball.
Yeah, I hope, and I think JB actually asked Danny about that, and I think hopefully it continues to be that tradition every year, or something that at least it doesn't go 12, 15 years. I forgot when JB said the last one was, but hopefully we can continue that rolling, because that was fun to see. I also, another interesting thing I thought that I heard Danny telling JB in the pregame, and then also, Kelly talked about it too, is just how smart the players were on the opposite side of the net. So like Jordan Larson, even though she might not have the strongest, most physical kill, she just is so smart about where she places balls and, just understanding how to attack on the other side. And I think we saw some of that. And so I think that will also be a learning point. Some of the things that when you're preparing, taking away is that. But they said that was going to be a challenge, and we saw that several times.
Yeah, we saw the mental part of it for sure. And there's this video that I'm watching now that if you look around social media, you could find, but Harper Murray blocking Jordan Larson at the net, like a 4-time Olympian, and you could see her smile and how giddy she was when she did that.
Jordan is actually one of Harper's favorite players growing up. Mm-hmm. So
how cool is that? Like those moments are forever for Harper Murray, and even for Jordan Larson to be able to usher in the new generation of Huskers. But those on current Huskers on that side of the net, you have to think that they're kind of kids and giddy in a sense, looking up to a lot of these players.
402-413-2400 is that number to text in if you want to be a part of the show tonight. Wally has texted in and says, welcome to Nebraska. Have you had a chance to have the real Runza beef experience yet?
No. You know what's funny is I did a TV interview today, and it wasn't as a part of the actual interview, but I was asked after, and he said, so how many times have you been asked if you've had a real Runza yet? And I said, quite a bit, but I have not. I will. Again, I've heard stadium Runzas are the best, so maybe I have to wait till Akron's in town on September 6th, and then I can have the true experience.
All right, let's get to a break. Coming up next, we're going to hear a couple of clips from Coach Rule from his press conference on Saturday. We'll also hear from Coach Butler. He was made available today, had a media press conference today after practice, so we'll get to that coming up next. Like Husker Athletics, your retirement deserves a game plan with a solid foundation. Stonebridge Wealth Systems, local advisors, a disciplined process. The Retirement Compass. Visit stonebridgeiwm.com. We're back with more from Sports Nightly coming up after this.
It's the summer sales event with the Ford Groom.
Sam, 30 seconds on the clock. The Ford Summer Sales Event.
Great time to buy.
Correct. What do we have amazing deals on this summer?
Ford trucks and SUVs.
Is Ford America's all-time best-selling auto brand?
Let me think. Yeah, it is.
3 for 3.
What do I win?
You get to work at the Ford Summer Sales Event.
Amazing. I think I was going to do that anyway.
You betcha.
Based on Automotive News Almanac historical data and industry-reported sales data from 1909 through 2024 CY.
So cool.
Does your furnace have you in distress? Call SOS, a trustworthy company since 1950. Their technicians don't earn commission. This equals fair treatment to our customers. SOS is a family-owned third-generation company. To celebrate our 75th anniversary, get a new AC or furnace for $75 a month. Call SOS at 402-391-2336.
SOS to the rescue. SOS. SOS.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Experience exceptional quality and lasting value at Woodhouse Toyota. Lease the 2025 Toyota Corolla Hybrid XLE forward-wheel drive for $250 a month for 36 months and 10,000 miles per year. Visit us in-store off Highway 281 in Grand Island or online at WoodhouseToyota.com. Woodhouse Toyota. Let's go places. With approved credit, tax, title, license extra. Security deposit waived. $24.99 down payment plus first payment and $299 doc fee due at signing. Stock number GT250217. Offer expires 8/31/2025. See dealer for details.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
Because my mom wore her seatbelt that day, I get to hug her when I go home.
And then it clicked. Because I wore my seatbelt, I learned that one moment in time can change a person's life forever.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
The day we were hit was the second to last day of our high school careers.
We were about to graduate as best friends together.
And then it clicked. Because we wore our seatbelt that day, we still get to experience life together.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your basement and damaging your home. Mold, cracks, and of course visible water are just a few signs your basement is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
Pickup truck, sports car, motorcycle, minivan, townhouse, two-story, farmhouse, fixer-upper. What you drive and where you live is different for everyone, so it's important to have insurance that fits your needs and is just right for you. At Shelter Insurance, we understand that, which is why our agents help you design a comprehensive auto, home, and life insurance plan. Insurance that fits just right.
See Shelter Agent Josh Ahrens in Kearney, Scott Vermas in La Vista, or Dennis Malloy in Bellevue today.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraskachiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
It's the summer sales event with the Ford Groom.
Sam, 30 seconds on the clock. The Ford Summer Sales Event.
Great time to buy.
Correct. What do we have amazing deals on this summer?
Ford trucks and SUVs.
Is Ford America's all-time best-selling auto brand?
Let me think. Yeah, it is.
3 for 3.
What do I win?
You get to work at the Ford Summer Sales Event.
Amazing. I think I was going to do that anyway.
You betcha.
Based on Automotive News Almanac historical data and industry-reported sales data from 1909 through 2024 CY.
The Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. Welcome back to Sports Nightly with Kyle Crooks. I'm Jessica Coody. The Huskers held scrimmage number 2 on Saturday, and coming out of the scrimmage on Saturday, once again, fairly good news on the injury front. I know Coach Rule had come out and said Gibson Pyle is banged up, but that's always good when you just have one guy to announce after a scrimmage.
Yeah, you don't want any real bad news. Sounds like, they're still evaluating Gibson to see where he could be at. Obviously, he could be a big part of that offensive line depth, considering what Nebraska's gone through with some of the injuries there. You hope everybody stays healthy in the end, this next week or so heading into the first game in Cincinnati. But all good news. Sounds like both sides of the ball had some good moments. There were a lot of penalties from what Coach Rule had said. So there's some things that need to be cleaned up, more aggressive penalties than anything, because you teach these guys to, in camp, you want to build up that aggressiveness and maybe some extra holds and coverage and certain things that you can't have on a game day. So you still got a little bit of time to get things cleaned up, 10 days.
He was in a great mood on Saturday.
He was. So apparently he, because he got there a little early, I wasn't in the room, I watched it. He was sitting in the room just talking with the media just to wait for others to get there because they were going to start early. So he talked to the media just sitting around for a few minutes before he ever went to the podium. So he was on one in a good way.
That's great. Okay, well, let's hear from the head coach. Couple of notables from the press conference. Just overall, he broke down what they did in the scrimmage on Saturday.
We tried to get to 120 plays. We didn't quite get there. Some wideouts just kind of, getting run down at the end. So I just stopped it, but it was probably at 110, so it was right close. Got a bunch of live punts. We rushed the punter, tried to block it. We got a bunch of live field goals, and we went good on good. And so two main concerns for me right now are we had some penalties. We had a Big Ten crew. I asked them to call it really tight. We had too many penalties. A lot of aggressive penalties, not silly pre-snap penalties, a lot of like defensive holds, just we're trying to play a really aggressive style. And so we'll have to go back and look at it. Offensively, it wasn't really the starters, but the down the line guys, some of that. And then I think the second thing is, I feel really good about our first teams. It's which guys on the second team, which guys that are backups or even third team, which guys are going to step up, and who's just okay with their role. Sometimes in the world we live in now, like we just say, well, that's my role, and then we just complain about it. And I just want to know who's going to come out and fight for a new role, because in the world that we're going to be in, we're going to play a lot of tough ball games. We're going to travel all across the country, play in different time zones, different weathers. I need guys that are in the threes right now to be starters by the end of the year, or starters on special teams. And so I look forward to seeing the tape and seeing who did that, who didn't. But the quality of play dropped from the ones to the twos and the twos to the threes, and I don't like that. It doesn't make me happy. So some things to work on, but in general, I'd say a very successful day.
Yeah, I think that's normal. You expect in a way there's going to be somewhat of a drop between the twos and the threes, but it can't be so vast that all of a sudden it's a big issue, because we know the depth is going to be tested, and these guys they're going to be needed when it's all said and done. There's a similar message to Coach Rule when he talked to the team today. He had them gathered up after the practice, and he said that if you're not happy with your role, you have to fight for it. And that's what this is a very crucial next 10 days. So fall camp's over. We're now in practice, and eventually we'll get into game week preparation. But these next few days, really this week, for some of these players to, if they're not happy with their role, in the end, tape don't lie, as they say. You have to go out and you have to be able to carve out the role that you want for yourself, and you're going to have to do it here in practice.
Coach Rule's always very strategic with what he says in those press conferences, and pointed message, I'm sure, for a few of those guys that, hey, you got to step up a little bit.
Yeah, and everything he does has a certain amount of calculation behind it. Yeah. So if he says something in the press conference, there's a good chance he's probably talking to somebody on the other end of it.
All right, well, one of the battles that has been ongoing and pretty heated, it sounds like, from what we get from the coaching staff, is that at the tackle spots, and so specifically, I think, left tackle. So Coach Rule was asked about that, and if the scrimmage provided any clarity on that offensive tackle battle.
I would be remiss if I said something right now. I don't know exactly. I might. Sometimes I say one thing in here and I get in and watch the tape. It really is like a whole other world. I think our offensive line has produced and played well the whole time. So I don't have any this guy, that guy. I think Gunner's doing a heck of a job. He's playing really well. Teddy, Tyler, they're playing really well. So Pritchett's, he's got to continue to figure things out. He's got all the talent. He just has to figure out what's expected from him all the time, and so I know he's working at that. Some guys are pouring into him, so we still have 2 weeks left or 10 days left or whatever. I don't even know. We have a countdown clock out there. I don't know what the countdown is, but we still have, in my mind, I look at it 2 weeks left, so we still have another week of. Today was the end of camp, but we have preseason next week, and so those races are not even close to being done.
It's going to take all the way up until kickoff. I think Donovan Raiola had said that too in his media gathering, that when somebody asked him, when do you feel that the tackle situations are going to be settled? He said, nothing else but game day. And I feel like that's where we're trending. I don't necessarily know if we still have in the coaching staff, maybe they have a better idea, but if you're reading between the lines from what Coach Rule has said, there's still some of the same question marks that we had going into fall camp as to who that left tackle is going to be, and then by trickle effect, who that right tackle is going to be. We all know Lutovsky's going to be left guard, Evans is going to be center, Rocco Spindler is right guard, knock on wood, barring any injury. But I think both tackle positions, I think they might not know until early next week.
And, again, another thing that we said a lot is the good news is that they have some guys behind that they feel good about. And I think even, you point to, and we heard Donovan Raiola talking about this last week, but even the progression of Turner Corcoran coming off the injury, who is also a guy that, as you pointed out, maybe don't see in the first couple of weeks, but eventually, and given his experience and just how much he's been a part and has that live game experience. There's another guy at tackle that you can point to that, has started really at both spots and has been relied upon in some big-time situations throughout his career here.
Yeah, last year, 4 starts at left tackle. He's made 35 starts in his career, and he's interchangeable between playing guard and playing that tackle position. So you have 5 guys that I think you have some sort of confidence in that could play on either end of the line at the tackle spots.
All right, let's go ahead and get to a break. And when we come back, we'll hear from the defensive coordinator, John Butler, who was available today, met with the media for his weekly press conference. So we'll get to that coming up right after this here on Sports Nightly.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money, because you're in charge. And right now, you're going to pay for groceries. But you decide what groceries. Just keep in mind you're running out of dishwashing soap. But you decide if you're going to buy that soap. It's just those dishes won't clean themselves, will they? Remember, with Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. And then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
You're going to feel a puff of air.
Jong's Optometry has set their sights on staffing up.
Try the next line. Hey, Kim, can you tell our 2 o'clock we're running 15 behind? Sorry, we're a bit backed up today.
He needs an optometric technician to keep an eye on it all.
Where are the dilation drops?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Jan from Toyota here with live coverage of end of summer fun at Toyota's National Sales Event with my special guest, Eli Manning.
Thanks, Jan. Let's get into it.
Down by the lake for some fishing, we've got Eric in his Tundra. He throws his line, and he's going long!
Heck of a team effort there. That Tundra got him exactly where he needed to be.
There's excitement in the stadium parking lot with the Davis family tailgating in their new Sequoia.
All eyes are on Dad manning the grill. He grabs some buns from the cargo area of the Sequoia and flips. And look at that! What a way to close this one out.
Sure was, Eli. Until next time, go Toyota!
See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Dealer inventory may vary. Event ends September 2nd. Toyota, let's go places.
See your Omaha Metro and Lincoln Toyota dealers. Village Point Toyota of Omaha, Baxter Toyota of La Vista, Baxter Toyota of Lincoln, or Corwin Toyota of Bellevue.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health, and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraskachiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
No matter what you're looking for, you'll find it at Woodhouse. We carry a wide selection of trusted brands across more than 20 locations, offering everything from efficient daily drivers to bold new EVs and family-ready SUVs. At Woodhouse, We put your experience first, offering expert guidance and a trusted team that's guaranteed to help you find the right vehicle. Visit a location near you or start shopping online at woodhouse.com. More ways to drive, more reasons to trust. This is Woodhouse.
At Shelter Insurance, we believe insurance should adjust to fit your needs. That's why we work with you to design an auto, home, and life insurance plan that's particular to you. Insurance that fits just right. And Shelter is known for our award-winning customer service, satisfied customers, and a plan for you. Ready to check us out? Shelter Insurance. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
See Shelter Agent Travis Hawk in Scottsbluff, Jim Mowinkle in Gretna, or Shane Bernhardt in Norfolk.
It's the summer sales event with the Ford Groom.
Sam, 30 seconds on the clock. The Ford Summer Sales Event.
Great time to buy.
Correct. What do we have amazing deals on this summer?
Ford trucks and SUVs.
Is Ford America's all-time best-selling auto brand?
Let me think. Yeah, it is.
3 for 3.
What do I win?
You get to work at the Ford Summer Sales Event.
Amazing. I think I was going to do that anyway.
You betcha.
Based on Automotive News Almanac historical data and industry-reported sales data from 1909 through 2024 CY.
Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. Welcome back to Sports Nightly. We've played a few of the highlights from the press conferences. Coach Rule met with the media on Saturday following the scrimmage, and then today we had another defensive availability. Coach Butler, Coach Simpson, and Coach Braden all had press conferences today. So we're going to hear from those guys coming up in hour number 2. So we'll hear from the defensive coordinator now. And Coach Butler was asked how many guys would be ideal for him to play in the front 7 rotation.
You're trying to play into your 2 deep, I think. As long as that 2 deep is where it needs to be from a development standpoint. We're not into charity. This is a meritocracy where you're going to play based on how you've practiced and how you've performed in the meeting rooms, and then obviously how you've performed in the scrimmages. So it's a meritocracy in that way. But ideally, I think we want to be able to play at all levels into our 2 deep, because we believe that as the season starts, we're preparing each day, one day at a time, but we're also trying to develop our roster as the season progresses so that we're prepared, not if we have injuries, but when. Football's a physical game, and ideally we'd love our starting 11 to all be available to us at the end of the year, but we all know that's not a practical way to look at things. So early in the year, we want to be developing them on the practice field, give them an opportunity to earn playing time, and then hopefully when they go out there and play, they play well, which then leads to more opportunities. So, like I said, I think you guys asked me that before. I don't really have a number per se, but I think we want to be playing into our 2 deep at every really position on defense. And hopefully those guys they're playing for Eck on special teams, and they get a taste of the game life on special teams as it leads into what they may be doing on defense.
I'm curious about the defensive line specifically how many players right now are you confident that name recognition, production in the past on that defensive line currently? So for me, some of the names that pop out obviously are Cam Lenhart, Riley Van Poppel, Elijah Judy, Keona Davis. Okay, outside of that core 4, who's that next group of guys that you can have some sort of confidence in? It might take, obviously, some games being played here, but I think Jalen George, who dealt with injury to start fall camp, he's been a part of camp now, and he's healthy. He's gotten reps. I think the coaches are raving about the way Jalen George has gone about his work. Williams Winery, if you watch him on the field, he's every bit of that 5-star look to him, and there's some plays that he makes and some bull rushes and some just pass rushes that he has in fall practices that he's well beyond his years. And then outside of that, Cade Petschak, who's I think as a freshman he's massive, 6'5", 265. That's an example of just how good Corey Campbell is at his job. If you look at Petschak and the amount that he's grown from since he's been on campus to now, I think he's going to be a legitimate option for John Butler and Terry Braden in that defensive line room. And I think the linebacking room has a lot of capabilities in terms of its depth. And I'm not even talking about the jack position. That's that linebacker, defensive end sort of hybrid that I think runs about 4 deep right now. But I think you're confident Marquez, Watson, Trent, Javen Wright, of course, earning that single-digit number, and then Vincent Shavers behind him. And how about Vincent Shavers, Jess, who had that number 1 jersey last year, but wasn't necessarily voted into being a single-digit guy. He had to go back out and earn that opportunity to be voted as a single-digit guy. So it just tells you in the development of where Vincent Shavers is right now. I think from a front 7, there are, of course, a lot of question marks there, but I think there is some confidence in the depth that you have there.
Are you including in terms of the defensive line up front, those outside guys like a Desan McCullough or the Ochoas, those kinds of guys?
So I put them in their own category because I have them as sort of that hybrid of linebacker, defensive end. I think that might be one of the strongest portions of this team when it's all said and done. Desan McCullough talked today to the media, and really impressive on the podium. But he's back where, and he was outlining, he's back to where he played his freshman year, playing more towards the line of scrimmage. That year he was an All-American at Indiana. And what's interesting about his story is his dad played for the Chiefs, so he's going to be back in a stadium that he used to go to a lot as a kid, and he was born in Cincinnati. So he's going to be playing against his hometown team in the city that he was born. So it's a unique game for Desan McCullough.
Okay, let's move on. How about Coach Butler was asked today specifically about Donovan Jones and how much getting to play in that bowl game and the role that Donovan played in that bowl game, and even I'm assuming the practices even leading up to it, how big of a factor that was for Donovan Jones.
I would assume, like anything else I've ever done in coaching, the more you play, the more confident you're going to be. So if you played in the bowl game and now you're going to play in Arrowhead Stadium against Cincinnati, that's not his first time out there. He played in Yankee Stadium, which basically you can say is a pro venue, hallowed grounds. So I would assume that anybody we got into that game, if and when they play against Cincinnati and Arrowhead, I just think that's going to help them because it just allows them to kind of say to themselves that they've been there before and done that.
And Donovan Jones, so he started camp as a safety, moves back to corner. So John Butler tells you that wasn't necessarily injury-based. We're going to put guys where we feel that they put us in the best position to win. Donovan Jones, I think, will work a lot as a slot corner, and I've seen him work a little bit of traditional corner as well. There's a lot of guys who have sacrificed a lot. Javen Wright, who Coach Rule talked about, has made 3 different position switches. There's a lot that goes into seeing the game as a safety as opposed to a cornerback. Safety, you're more of, in baseball, it's like the analogy of being a center fielder. You have to, there's a lot more that maybe you have to gauge pre-snap as opposed to corner. And, to be a cornerback in the Big Ten takes a lot of athleticism. So it just shows his ability to adapt, his athleticism, all that Donovan Jones has to bounce back and forth from safety to cornerback continually. It shows a lot.
Okay, so Coach Butler was asked also about a couple of the guys that were injured and maybe working back from that. Jameer Khan, Jalen George specifically, how they stayed dialed in while injured.
The number one characteristic with both of those kids is that they both have great energy. They both are very thankful to be here in this program. There's zero entitlement to them, meaning, what can you do for me? It's really about them. What can I do for the team? Obviously, they both came from programs that aren't the University of Nebraska, no disrespect to them, and I think they value what's being poured into them from a strength standpoint, from the head coaches, from the head coach, from the assistant coaches, from all of our support staff. They understand that when we say they have everything at their fingertips to be as good as they need to be, both as a man and as a player, both of those kids have that energy of, what can I do to continue to earn this, as opposed to the entitlement that sometimes gets associated with Division I athletes. And I think, therefore, they, with that energy and that kind of positive state of mind, you add to their talent and their level of kind of how hard they play, both of those guys would fall into that group that I've referred to as the players that we brought in are going to help us. And I think that as they keep developing, as they keep getting stronger, more experienced, more confident in our systems and in our building, I think both of those players, as well as those other guys we've added, are going to help us on defense.
It's a unique perspective when you come from the FCS level to what they have in terms of resources, and then you come here and you're in a palace. You have everything, and that's what they mentioned when they talk about Jalen George, Jameer Khan. Coach Rule said something similar about those two on Saturday, and talking about Jalen George, and he referenced a story that Jalen had brought up when he would eat his pregame meal. It would be in the student cafeteria. So they'd go to the student cafeteria, you'd get your tray, you'd get in line, and then here you have a training table that has the freshest seafood, steak, salmon, all these things that are right at your fingertips. So it allows you to be grateful and understand what you have, but also utilize it to the best of your ability to become the best player in person that you possibly can.
Tom in the chat said, don't count out Maverick Noonan, best pass rusher on the team. How's Maverick Noonan looked?
Yeah, Maverick's been getting some reps. We'll see. I don't necessarily know where he stacks up on the depth chart right now. Those are a lot of things that have to be figured out, but we could see a little bit of Maverick, local kid from Omaha.
Another question about Carter Nelson, too. Of course, he missed all spring coming back from the injury. I think he's just got a skill set that Dana Holgorsen wants to utilize however possible.
Yeah, he's just traditional pass-catching tight end. It takes, you think of the injury he's coming back from, hip surgery. That's really hard to come back from. So didn't have spring football, but you're going to see a lot of all three of those tight ends, along with Ingerson as well, who might even see some time as the fourth tight end.
A lot of going back to just the injury front and the resources that are here and just the staff that's on place to help make sure that they're tracking things and also doing stuff preventative. They stretch as a team. I've noticed this a couple times, the defensive, I don't know if it's the entire defense, but the defensive backs get together and do some stretching after practices. But the cold tubs, the hot tubs, just all of the things that you have, just even leading up. You can't, it's inevitable. People are going to get injured. But the things that you can do even before you take the field to get your body in a spot where you can maybe avoid some injuries, everything that is available, Nebraska has it for these guys.
Yeah, and we'll probably talk more about her with Coach Rule, but Kristen Coggan, throw her flowers for what she's done for this program as the head nutritionist, dietitian, not sure exactly what you would call it, but she makes sure that they're eating their necessary meals per day, and she's very strict to make sure that they're eating exactly what they need to be, and especially in fall camp when a lot of these guys are dropping a lot of weight because there's so much sweat, that you're working in the heat. So that's when, especially in fall camp, is when she's probably most important in making sure they get everything they need.
I'd love to. I'm going to ask her how many steps she gets, because I bet it's up there with Coach Butler on how many steps she gets. She's constantly running. I always ask her on the sideline if she's staying hydrated too, her and her team, because they do work. And she's been on the show multiple times. She's fantastic. Huge part, one of the MVPs for Coach Roll and his staff, and he's mentioned that for sure. All right, got to get to a break. We're back to wrap up hour number 1 next.
This year, we considered hiring an ad agency to help with our marketing.
They pitched impressive visuals and a script that was inspiring.
And exotic animal mascots to help grab your attention.
In the end, we just decided to tell it to you straight. Shelter Insurance has award-winning customer service at affordable rates.
Plus, our local agents are there to help you understand what coverage you need.
See Shelter agents Pete Voles or Brent Ruggo in North Platte, or in Broken Bow, see agent Brent Custer.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts. It's the summer sales event with the Ford Groom.
Sam, 30 seconds on the clock. The Ford Summer Sales Event.
Great time to buy.
Correct. What do we have amazing deals on this summer?
Ford trucks and SUVs.
Is Ford America's all-time best-selling auto brand?
Let me think. Yeah, it is.
3 for 3.
What do I win?
You get to work at the Ford Summer Sales Event.
Amazing. I think I was going to do that anyway.
You betcha.
Based on Automotive News Almanac historical data and industry-reported sales data from 1909 through 2024 CY.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraskachiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
The Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. Kyle, I knew it wasn't crazy. I knew Purdue had some record that they broke last year in attendance, and it was Purdue, but it was a Big Ten regular season match. So it was 14,876 fans that they played in front of a sold-out Mackey Arena against Wisconsin. They did it back-to-back weeks. They tied a record. But it was Purdue that ended up getting the Big Ten regular season attendance record that if Nebraska ever played a Big Ten match in PBA, they could get back.
I don't know if they're ever going to do that, but we know we're adding more seating to John Cook Arena, but it won't be that much. It'll be over 10,000. There's only so much room that you could fit inside the Devaney Center. But if you do elect to get that indoor record, you want to do a one-off, you can have records. You can do one right there pretty easily.
Yeah. So I could not remember for the life of me what it was.
You're not crazy.
My memory is not great.
I'm not crazy. I'm just a little impaired. Is that Matchbox
Unwell.
20? Oh, no, that's Matchbox 20.
Yes.
Let's go. Was that the song we played the other day?
I think so. No, it was Uncle Cracker.
That's what we call a callback.
So we got to have some discussion here because we've got a lot that we got to get in on Sports Nightly once we get to the fall season, including our Big Ten or our picks segment, which we were looking at the schedule. We have no show on Friday because volleyball will be on the air, and we don't have a Friday show until like late September.
Yeah, not a lot of Fridays. I'm looking right now, Jess, at the week 0 schedule. Feed me Sam Houston in Western Kentucky. I can't wait. Fresno State at Kansas, yes. Idaho State at UNLV, sign me up. I'll be there. But the big one, Iowa State, Kansas State, that's the one everybody's going to watch. So that's the Dublin game at 11 a.m. So we are officially in college football game week.
Yes, but we'll have a small pick segment. But I'm going back and forth on the joke of the week. I feel like it's been a summer series. We kept it rolling because Nick wanted to do joke of the week. You wanted to do joke of the week.
Nailed it, by the way, too.
So I'm thinking that maybe we just make that a bye-week thing during football season and not do it every week.
I mean, it doesn't take a whole lot of time.
We'll think about it.
It's about a minute.
I'm thinking for now, we're going to put it on the shelf, and this week will be the last week for joke of the week.
Somebody doesn't like laughter. And you know what it was? You know what I think it was, Camden? Camden Cohen, our great producer. I think she's jealous that I was that good.
No, you
The
actually
reviews.
texted me and you said, well, because when you thought it was going to be last week, you said, oh, great, we'll finish with the best for last. I'm like, actually, this week will. And so David or whoever does it will be the best for last.
Yeah. You know what? Sometimes you're so good, you just gotta hang it up.
All right, well, coming up hour number 2, we're going to hear from a couple more of the assistant coaches met with the media today, Terry Braden and Phil Simpson. So we'll have that for you. And listen, the people have been asking, and we are going to deliver today. The big dog is back on the Huskers
Let
Radio
him bark.
Network airwaves. Let's go.
Ruff, ruff, ruff.
Save that for Husker volleyball.
Gotcha.
So Jeremiah Sirles also coming up next week. We'll also have our weekend winners. So keep it here. Another big hour just ahead here on Sports Nightly and the Huskers Radio Network. Keep it here.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraskachiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
At Woodhouse, we're with you every step of the way. With more than 20 locations and brands, you'll find options that fit your lifestyle. Whether you're looking for your first car, your next SUV, or something built to tow and haul. Enjoy straightforward pricing, helpful guidance, and a dealer experience built around you. Visit one of our convenient locations today or explore your options online at woodhouse.com. Serving our customers for 50 years, this is Woodhouse.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect that water is the reason parts of your concrete have gotten so uneven. Walkway tripping hazards, sinking pool deck, cracked driveways are dangerous threats to everyone's safety. But there's one way to learn how your concrete can be lifted. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
Did you get us switched over to shelter insurance?
Actually, I found a deal online.
You did? Does your deal come with award-winning customer service?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Does the deal include a local agent?
Doesn't actually say.
Can we create a customized plan that fits our needs? Let's just call the local shelter agent.
For insurance that fits just right, find a shelter agent near you.
See shelter agent Rhonda Miller in Alliance, Stephanie Culver in Holdridge, or Jonna Austin in Fairbury.
Good evening, I'm Camden Cohn, and our sports ticker is brought to you by the experienced advisors at Stonebridge Wealth Systems. Yesterday, Nebraska track and field high jumper Tyus Wilson won the gold medal at the NACAC Championships in the Bahamas. Wilson jumped just over 7 feet 4 inches. He also won the USA Track and Field Outdoor Championships 2 weeks ago. In other Husker news, 16 members of the Nebraska women's gymnastics squad were selected as WGCA Scholastic All-Americans. In order to be an All-American, athletes must maintain a GPA of 3.5 or higher. Emma Spence and Lucy Stanhope were named Big Ten Distinguished Scholars earlier this year as they both held a 4.0 GPA. It's another busy day in Major League Baseball. One game that's already final, the Brewers shut out the Cubs 7-0. Currently, the Cardinals lead the Marlins 3-2 as they head to the bottom of the fifth in Miami. They're also in the bottom of the fifth in Detroit, where the Tigers lead the Astros 5-0. They're on top of the fifth inning. The Blue Jays and Pirates are tied at 2. Top of the fifth inning in Philadelphia, where the Phillies lead 6-0 over the Mariners. And top of the fourth inning, the Orioles lead the Red Sox 1-0. And finally, in just a few minutes, the Commanders will host the Bengals for preseason football on ESPN. Our sports ticker is brought to you by Stonebridge Wealth Systems, navigating you to and through the retirement of your dreams. Local advisors, a disciplined process, the retirement compass. Visit stonebridgeiwm.com. Hour 2 of Sports Nightly is up next, right here on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who remind you to buckle up and put the phone down.
Pianto set first offering. That ball's driven up the middle. Coming around third is Dylan Carey. The throw is offline. The Huskers win it. The Huskers win it. Nebraska will march on.
Wing to the near side. Snap back. Has some time. Steps, throws down the field. The pass is intercepted. Picked off by Sierra Wright to the 30, 25, 20. Sierra down the near sideline. 20, 10, 5. Touchdown, Nebraska. Sierra Wright with a pick six for Nebraska, and the Huskers have taken the lead on the road.
Rimdahl, a couple of ball fakes, bounces into Prince at half court. And Prince is going to make a run on a falter. Steps back for 3 to tie the game. You betcha! Biggest shot of that freshman's young career. Timeout! We're tied at 75. Britt Prince is 19. She steps back and sticks a three-pointer, her 5th of the night.
Now, here are your hosts, Jessica Coody and Kyle Crooks on the Huskers Radio Network.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of Sports Nightly. Coming up this hour, we're going to hear from the big dog, Jeremiah Sirles. He's finally back out of hibernation. He disappears for like 6 months, Kyle, when football season's over until it comes back. Sometimes we don't hear from the big dog, but he's back now that it's almost game week.
And he's ready to eat.
Oh.
And I could just see him waking up in hibernation. The way he emerges just through like a pass block motion.
Yes.
And that's how he reemerges into sunlight.
Yes. And it's so funny because you it's so easy. I think I know him so well now. I know when to get him really riled up. And so he was already like.
He was there. He's season ready is what you're telling me.
He comes out of hibernation ready for a season. Like, he doesn't need any fall camp preparation.
He doesn't need anything.
He's ready to roll. So we'll hear that conversation, or a portion of it is a part of every week, our Sideline Slice presented by our great friends at Valentino's Pizza. So that's coming up here in just a few minutes. And also, we teased this at the end of last week, but Kyle has been starting his charts and really diving into a prep for Cincinnati week 1. And so we thought we'd take this week and dive into a different position group or two each night of this week, previewing the matchup with Cincinnati. How are those charts? Have you had to move those around as much as you've had in Nebraska?
A lot. Now, I don't think, I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong, that Cincinnati will have a depth chart for the first game that'll be public, because you don't necessarily have to do that. If you're them, you have no film, and now in the world of transfers, there's a lot of question marks. Now, you can put the pieces together as to who they bring in, who's going to be where. The thing about Cincinnati, I believe they allow their media to go to their scrimmages, so there's a lot of answers that you get to some of the questions but yes, I've moved around a lot.
So we're going to talk Cincinnati quarterbacks, running backs, coming up here in the second segment tonight in just a few minutes. But we're going to hear from a couple of the assistant coaches from Husker football that had their fall camp press conferences today. Let's start with Phil Simpson, who is back on the Husker staff, huge in recruiting. We've talked so much about that. But on his guys and those, I guess, outside linebackers, that group, and Kyle just pointed out in that last segment, could be one of the deeper rooms. Really excited about that group. So let's just hear from Coach Simpson, and he was asked about the versatility of the guys in his group.
Yeah, I'll tell you what is exciting because it's defense. We have a lot going on, a lot of movement, and just kind of like working in space a lot of times. So for us, we have the ability to rush the pass and do different things, having different guys on the field. That just kind of like, that might, right now we're just working with the Jacks on the field, but obviously game by game, that kind of run its own course. But in reality, just that room itself has a lot of flexibility. Everybody have their own natural traits, and things that they're really good at. So it's all about, week after week, just looking at who can we exercise best, to help service the team in that upcoming week. But overall, it boils down to a room full of guys who all have one common goal, but they all have different traits to be successful. So it's a pretty good room to have in terms of just the versatility.
And the 3-3-5 defense allows you to be a little bit flexible in the amount of looks that you give, and that's why the jack position needs to be so versatile. It needs to be somebody who can rush the passer, can play the run, can drop back in coverage. They have a lot of athletic guys in this group, and I truly think that it might be a position, the jack position, that could be 4 deep. You mentioned the relationship that Phil Simpson has with guys from the state of Florida. Willis McGahee, I think, is set to have a big year. He's one of the top recruits out of the Miami area. Deshaun McCullough, if you just look at him in a uniform, he looks like he's NFL ready in terms of just the body type that he has. He's playing a role that he hadn't since 2022, and then Ochoa and Rogers. It's 4 deep in the guys that Coach Simpson is looking at. I'm
glad you brought up McGahee. He's another guy that I don't know if we've talked enough about, but he's another guy as a true freshman showed lots of flashes last year. I think he's poised to have a pretty big season.
Yeah, he had season high in snaps too in the bowl game, so he saw his most run towards the end of the year. Similar trend with some of the younger guys that are coming back now a year older, where a lot of them were able to get that necessary experience in the Pinstripe Bowl.
Okay, how about Deshaun McCullough? We talked about him a little bit last hour, but Coach Simpson was asked about him and his how he's adjusting to being a more complete player.
Well, right now, he's made a great amount of progress. He's working at it every day, and I tell Deshaun to tell everybody else in that room again, you're here to be a complete football player. We don't come into Nebraska to be a pass rusher. So you come here to play football, learn to stop the run, and everything else that comes with it. Pass rushing is just part of the game, no different in special teams, offense, and defense. It all correlates together. So he's doing a good job at just identifying everything else and just kind of overall develop his game. Yeah, that part is just simply playing in the box, right? Just being a guy that kind of just moved around a lot versus just kind of getting hands-on and just, playing off the edge a little bit more, what you're seeing right now. So other than that, that's about it, though. He's doing a good job.
Yeah, somebody they wanted to add a little bit more bulk to coming in because you want him to be able to play the run. But he's been a versatile piece throughout his career. He played at Oklahoma, that cheetah position, so he played off the line of scrimmage. He's played safety, linebacker, and defensive end. Now you move him into this room. It almost feels like it's the perfect fit for him at Nebraska to really pin his ears back, as they like to say, and go after the passer. But he has the perfect skill set for this position room and what they ask of those jack position guys.
All right, let's move to the defensive line here from Terry Braden. And Williams Winari is a guy that has come in and a lot of hype surrounding Williams, and top recruit and coming to Nebraska, transferring from Missouri. And he looks the part, right? He's a guy that stands out if you go to practice. So Terry Braden was asked about him and just how he's handling some of the expectations that he's come in with.
Will does a good job by canceling out the no distractions part, right? We talk about no distraction, being a great teammate, right? Those things that you keep saying over and over, Will has embraced and trying to get better at each and every day, and you see us carrying over to the field, which is going to help us this year. One, he's buying in, and then two, he has a high ceiling. You know, I'm always going to speak positive. No matter what through the challenges, he has a high ceiling, and he's going, me as a coach, as a coaching staff, I have to get him and get everything out of him to get to that ceiling.
Yeah, some people you talk to, you think of the word project, but I don't necessarily think they view him that way because he's somebody, project's usually somebody that's not going to play right away. Williams Nwaneri is going to play right away. You can't have that talent sitting on the bench. So, he only played a total of 38 snaps in his 1 year with Missouri, so that was a redshirt year, but everything is there for him, and that bleeds into our conversation about defensive line depth. If Williams Nwaneri takes a big jump this year, I think you're looking at this defensive front seven in a much different way.
All right, how about RVP, Riley Van Poppel, getting the single digits? Coach Braden was asked about him.
Riley has been one of the leaders that's coming in the room with Cam and Judy. Riley has done a good job trying to get off the ball. He's done a good job knowing and doing this assignment. I'm very pleased with Riley yet. Excuse me. I'm very pleased with Riley yet, and I think he's doing a very, very good job.
Part of me wanted that clip because I just wanted to show you the recovery of Terry Braden. That sound, he dropped his water bottle on the ground and picked it up and continued his answer. I'll tell you this, the takeaway I had from Coach Braden today, and you saw it with Phil Snow too, the amount of energy that is in football coaches and basketball coaches. You can even go, if you want to go like wrestling and things like that, but the amount of energy that is necessary on a daily basis, I could never do that.
Yeah.
You have to always pour into because you're constantly around these athletes, practice, meetings, media. You always have to be 110%.
When you ask the players about it, that's one of the first things you mentioned, and it sounds so cliche, but I think if you listen to Terry Braden talk, you understand exactly what they mean when they say he brings the energy. Because he's not lacking. Was he asked at all about coffee or energy drinks? I wonder if it's all natural for him too.
We had to turn down the levels on the mics because he was. It was like those energy drinks that you drink. It was like a shot of one of those.
I haven't had an energy drink, by the way, since a couple weeks. So,
but how about and two? We can get more into this when the game gets closer. But the amount of connections to Arrowhead Stadium, Terry Braden, that's a place that he coached since 2017. He started as a defensive assistant. Andy Reid really gave him an opportunity to move up to be an assistant D-line coach, and now he's in charge of a room. So he said he's going to have a lot of his former players at the NFL level that are going to be there at the game.
That's cool. All right, how about Elijah Judy now? Coach Rule talked a lot about Elijah and told his story at the press conference on Saturday. Elijah graduated. His family is at almost every single practice. It's really neat. But his story overall is one that, hey, it's why college athletics is special and why Coach Rule and what this staff and this culture, how it works. And it's one of those cool stories that it just a feel good story. So Coach Braden was asked his perspective on Elijah Judy.
Well, Coda and my son Carter are almost the same age. So we had them over the house and they became friends, but getting a degree, like that's why I love about college. Like, my brother was murdered at 17 years old before I was born, 30 feet from my house. So I always told my mom I wanted to get a degree. That paper nobody can take from you. I don't care. Football is going to last a couple years, but that degree is so special. And I talk about it in my room, right? Being a student athlete, student first. Get your degree. Get that degree, and then you can chase football as much as you can. But getting that degree was so special, and seeing a Judy, I actually got the picture printed, hung it in my office because that's what it's about. And I think a lot of times guys forget that's what it's about. Yes, we want to win. Production-based business, I understand that. But getting a degree and showing other people where he's from, man, that's just a special moment. And I'm so proud of him.
You think of the last couple of years for a Philly guy in Elijah Judy. So he had his son in July of 2023. And now a couple of years later, he is the first college graduate in his family. So Just really, really cool stuff. I think Coach Rule had mentioned on Saturday that he wasn't a part of this scrimmage because he wanted him to be able to celebrate his graduation. And Coach Rule echoed a lot of the same sentiments as Coach Braden, that this is why they do it, to mold young guys into young men and then go on into professional careers. So I think that was important to highlight that there's more than just wins and losses here at stake.
The football creative team also posted a little clip from Coach Rule addressing the media and reading the text from Elijah. And I like the peeks behind the scenes, but you can tell Elijah getting his degree meant a lot to a lot of people in this program.
Yeah, and again, in a world now, Jess, that is so focused on money and what coach is here and what coach might get fired there, and that this is all a business and it's the minor leagues for the NFL. All that might be true, but in the end, you have the opportunity to capitalize on getting a degree when you use that scholarship the right way and get a degree and have that for life. And you can never, like Coach Braden said, you can never take that away from Elijah.
Grit, precision, results. That's Husker football in our approach to retirement. Stonebridge Wealth Systems, local advisors, relentless focus, the retirement compass. Visit StonebridgeIWM.com. Got to get to a break. Coming up next, we're going to start to preview a little bit Cincinnati and do some position breakdowns there. Kyle's been diving into the research and getting his charts ready, so we thought we'd pass along his knowledge, his brain to you guys here on Sports Nightly. So keep it here.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other, so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio. So we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
Well, what other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts. It's the summer sales event with the Ford Groom.
Sam, 30 seconds on the clock. The Ford Summer Sales Event.
Great time to buy.
Correct. What do we have amazing deals on this summer?
Ford trucks and SUVs.
Is Ford America's all-time best-selling auto brand?
Let me think. Yeah, it is.
3 for 3.
What do I win?
You get to work at the Ford Summer Sales Event.
Amazing. I think I was going to do that anyway.
You betcha.
Based on Automotive News Almanac historical data and industry-reported sales data from 1909 through 2024 CY.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your crawl space and damaging your home. Musty smells, sagging floors, mold are just a few signs your crawl space is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
Did you get us switched over to shelter insurance?
Actually, I found a deal online.
You did. Does your deal come with award-winning customer service?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Does the deal include a local agent?
Doesn't actually say.
Can we create a customized plan that fits our needs? Let's just call the local shelter agent.
For insurance that fits just right, find a shelter agent near you.
See shelter agent Dory Milberger or Darren Frazier in Omaha or agent Terry Dingwell in Fremont.
I got to see my brother get married.
I would have missed my dad's birthday.
Because I wore my seatbelt, I had the privilege of being part of his special day.
I got to go home and see my family again.
Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
I was able to go to my brother's graduation.
I wouldn't have adopted my first pet.
And then it clicked. My seatbelt saved my life. Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
At Woodhouse Cadillac, we're redefining your drive with premium performance, advanced technology, and world-class comfort. Explore our current offers happening now. Lease the 2025 Cadillac Vistic Luxury for $599 a month for 24 months and 10,000 miles per year. Browse our inventory in-store or shop online today. With approved credit, tax, title, license extra, first payment, and $299 doc fee due at signing. Must currently own a 2010 or newer competitive Conquest brand vehicle. Courtesy transportation vehicle with 1,817 miles. Offer expires 8/31/2025. See dealer for details.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraskachiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. Welcome back to Sports Nightly with Kyle Crooks. I'm Jessica Coody. John in Omaha had a question on the text line. At what point during game week will they dial it down to have their legs fresh and ready to go for Thursday night? John in Omaha says, go Big Red.
Probably the day before when they do a walkthrough on the day that they leave. I would assume they're not going to have any full padded practices. I don't know the number of how many padded practices that they've done to this point. Fully padded, you're allowed 9. I would assume they got maybe 1 or 2 left before it's...
Tuesdays are a heavy practice usually for them, and it's usually one of the tougher practices, and then they start to... Wednesday will still be a little more, but Tuesday's by far the most challenging during the week, and then they do the walkthrough, all that. So they'll still have a hard practice even during game week or couple. So, but it's very structured, so they'll continue to go pretty hard even during game week.
Physical game. You can't just back down on the physicality. And to transition into what's ahead here with Cincinnati, I think it's a pretty good team but there's a lot of question marks for Cincinnati. So it's a program that's coming off just a 5-7 year. They've not been good their first 2 years in Big 12 play under Scott Satterfield. And you look at it from a grand picture, it's a head coach right now that's coaching for his job. So they have a lot of new components to their team, but you start out with the quarterback position. Probably one of their best athletes on the team. So he's a two-way player, veteran guy, 21 years old. Brendan Sorsby's made 19 Power 4 starts. He started a season at Indiana. So he was there in 2023. So a total of 7 starts over 2 years at Indiana, then came here to Cincinnati and became the guy. So he's a dual threat. You're going to have to account for his legs. He's not a run-first guy, but he will take off if necessary. He ran for 9 touchdowns last year, and he has the ability to throw it around the yard. Now, this year, they're going to have a brand-new wide receiving core, and we'll get to that later in the week. But he had a game last year against Texas Tech where he was 31 of 45, 426 yards, 4 touchdowns, and an interception. So he's very, very capable of slinging the football, and also had a stretch last year where he did not have an interception over 148 pass attempts. He finished up last year for them 64% completion percentage. That was 3rd best in the Big 12, so he was in the top 3rd when it came to completion percentage, over 2,800 yards, 18 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. So very capable. Now, it's a Cincinnati team that lost 5 consecutive games to end last year. They had a brutal ending. Now, they played a lot of close games down the stretch, but the quarterback play was not at its best during that stretch. So he had 5 touchdowns and 3 interceptions in that 5-game losing streak. 3 games he was below a 60% completion percentage. They're very confident in him. I think The Athletic posted an article where they graded just about every starting Power 4, I should say every FBS quarterback, and they had Brendan Sorsby as the 20th best quarterback in the country. So it just shows he's very, very capable. He's experienced, but he's got a lot of work to do in terms of getting on the same page with his wide receiving core.
So he was third in the Big 12 Conference in completion percentage, to your point, but it seems like just what I've dug into that he was capable. He just didn't have the guys around him to really fully take advantage of what Brendan Thorsby can do. Would you say, where would you rank quarterback in terms of what you think is maybe one of their stronger positions?
I'd say it's on the offensive side. I'd say it's probably at the top outside of their tight end's going to be a first-round draft pick. So I think you put that position, and there's three guys that you would put on their offense that are keys to everything. Their center, Gavin Gerhardt, has been there a while. Brendan Thorsby, their quarterback, and Joe Royer, who's been their tight end. And we'll dive more into the tight ends later in the week. But I would put quarterback near the top offensively of positions that you're confident about.
Those dual threat guys are the guys that can pull it and go. They're scary.
Yeah, because it makes the RPO game so much more effective, and that's where those jack position guys who have to secure the edge, they have to be able to read the quarterback. Again, he's not looking to take off at first glance. But he's a capable runner. So for him, I think the area that he has to grow the most is passes over 20 yards, so explosive plays. Last year, he had a 29% completion percentage on passes of 20 or more yards, which is not good. But he was very good from the 10 yards or under. He had the 10th best passing grade in the country on those short routes. But can they break down a defense? Can they blow the top off a defense?
How much of that, though, was on them not having that kind of personnel to do that for him to throw the ball to?
Now, they had some good guys like Xavier Henderson, who I know from his time at Florida, had 59 catches last year. They're losing 5 of their top 7 receivers. So they had some guys that could get vertical. I think they have some guys coming in that could have a vertical threat, but I think part of it could be personnel for sure. And also they also didn't look to maybe go for that big shot a lot because they had such an effective run game. Corey Kiner, who since moved on to the NFL, I was watching a preseason game. He got hurt in a preseason game for the San Francisco 49ers, but it was a team that relied heavily on the ground game. They were 36 in the country in rush offense, 184 yards, so they didn't necessarily look to beat you by going over the top, but necessarily getting those yards on the ground and staying ahead of the chains.
All right, let's talk about the running backs this year.
Yeah.
There is a familiar name that Husker fans might remember well.
Yeah, Tawi Walker, who this is his third stop, so I'd have to see. He definitely was teammates with, I want to say there was crossover with Deshaun McCullough at Oklahoma.
Oklahoma, yeah. Yep.
And he's an interesting story, Tawi Walker. So the game you're referring to is the game Wisconsin last year. He had 14 carries for 55 yards. He was somebody who stepped away from football for a year and went to JUCO in 2021. So this is 5th year of college football, and then was a walk-on at Oklahoma, and then eventually earned a scholarship, transferred to Wisconsin, and he had a really effective year, almost had 1,000 yards on the ground last year, 864 yards on the ground, 4.5 yards per carry. He had 10 touchdowns, so he had career highs in attempts, yards, and touchdowns. He was an honorable mention in the Big Ten last year. He had 9 touchdowns in conference play, so he was a key to a lot of what Wisconsin did. But he's an interesting runner in the fact that he will run you over. Yeah. He is a human pinball, while a lot of guys like to dance and utilize the shiftiness and that sort of thing. Walker will face you up shoulder to shoulder and run you over. Now, they're probably going to utilize a 2-back system. So they have Evan Pryor, who's a transfer from Ohio State. Not many backfields, Jess, that have 2 Doak Walker watch list guys. Emmett Johnson is that guy for Nebraska, but they have 2 guys that are on that watch list. He's a big play sort of threat in the backfield. He had 4 touchdowns last year that were north of 55 or more yards. He led the Big 12 in yards per carry because of that. There's a lot of things that he does well, and as well as catching out of the backfield. He had an 80-yard touchdown catch last year, but he does a lot of things well. I think you'll see a lot of Walker. You'll see a lot of Pryor, with perhaps also Chance Williams from Grambling State, and Manny Covey could be a possible 4th running back.
You foresee the Huskers utilizing some Vincent Genatone on scout team to prep for old Tawi Walker?
I could see that for sure. And Coach Rule said that Genatone's essentially a bowling ball in himself, where he has the ability to run you over. So I would see that for sure happening here in the next couple days.
All right, good stuff. So where does the running backs rank then when you talk about position previews for Cincinnati?
I would say, because I'm sort of mentally, I think the wide receivers probably the lowest. I'd put them probably at the third spot behind quarterback and tight end. I'd put the running backs at the third most confident spot if you factor in wide receivers, offensive line, quarterbacks, running backs, tight ends. I would put running backs as the third group in terms of confidence.
My big takeaways from that, though, is that they've got two really different backs that they're going to utilize. That it's just when you have that just is, you prepare for two completely different guys. But Nebraska does have that they can throw at their defense to prepare for.
I think that's what you recruit to. I think most teams that you're going to play in the Big Ten are going to be teams that have multiple backs that are going to use 2, 3 running backs, some 4, but all have different skill sets. You can't have 3 or 4 running backs that all have the same skill set to try and run you over between the tackles. So I think you'll see a good balance between the guys that Cincinnati has.
All right, good stuff. What do we got tomorrow? Who are we talking tomorrow?
Who did I have? I texted you earlier today who we had.
We're going to continue these throughout this week, but again, we won't have a show on Friday, so you might have to carry one over to Monday of game week. But we're going to break down a little bit from Cincinnati each week, so I don't have
it was wide receivers, tight ends. So buckle in. There's a lot to dive into with their wide receiving group because it's all new.
Yeah.
And their tight end is legit one of the best in the country, including setting a receptions record for a single season, beating Travis Kelce.
So tight end's going to be someone that Old Swordsby's going to
he
probably
will rely
target
on. And that's
quite
where
a bit.
Javen Wright is going to come. But we'll talk. I don't want to get too far ahead.
We'll save that for tomorrow. We'll talk Cincinnati tight ends and wide receivers tomorrow night here on Sports Nightly. Going to get to a break. Coming up next, we're going to hear from the big dog, finally. Jeremiah Sirles back on Sports Nightly as a part of the Sideline site. So keep it here. That's conversation coming up next.
Shop Woodhouse, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram during the Make This the Summer event going on now. Lease the 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee for just $289 per month. Visit us in Blair or Bellevue today. Woodhouse is your trusted Jeep dealer. 24 months, 10,000 miles per year. With approved credit, tax, title, license extra. For well-qualified returning lease customers, $19.99 down plus first payment and $2.99 doc fee due at signing. Stock number C250228. Offer expires 8/31/25. See dealer for details.
Hey Huskers, it's a new day in Nebraska. Manzer Equipment, Mertz Farm Equipment, and West Point Implement of Columbus have teamed up as True Ag and Turf. Coach Rule is bringing innovation and high-performance standards to Husker football, and True Ag is doing the same to your farm with game-changing Fendt equipment. As Big Red establishes power on the field, True Ag and Turf does the same in the field by welcoming Fendt to Nebraska.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Noddle Companies proudly supports the Huskers Radio Network. As a full-service leader in commercial real estate, we create thriving communities. Discover what's new in the Builders District in North Downtown, Noddle Hospitality's latest venture in Exarban Village, and the contemporary living of row house townhomes on Leavenworth. We're welcoming world-class concepts from men's fashion and great eats to gorgeous homes and green spaces, all professionally managed by Noddle Services. These are the Noddle Companies, building a better Nebraska. For more information, check us out on Facebook and Instagram.
This year, we considered hiring an ad agency to help with our marketing.
They pitched impressive visuals and a script that was inspiring.
And exotic animal mascots to help grab your attention.
In the end, we just decided to tell it to you straight. Shelter Insurance has award-winning customer service at affordable rates.
Plus, our local agents are there to help you understand what coverage you need.
See shelter agent Sharon Lear in Papillion, Paul Hoos in Grand Island, or an Ord Sea agent Matt Woodward.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your foundation and damaging your home. Cracks in walls and uneven floors are just a few signs your foundation is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns: a free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
Because my mom wore her seatbelt that day, I get to hug her when I go home.
And then it clicked. Because I wore my seatbelt, I learned that one moment in time can change a person's life forever.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
The day we were hit was the second to last day of our high school careers.
We were about to graduate as best friends together.
And then it clicked. Because we wore our seatbelt that day, we still get to experience life together.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraskachiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Make the most of August with a new ride from Woodhouse Chevy. Whether it's one last road trip, giving the kids back to school, or upgrading your daily drive, we'll help you find the perfect vehicle for wherever life takes you. From dependable trucks to spacious SUVs, you'll find incredible selections and special financing options available now. Shop online or visit us at one of our 2 locations in Omaha or Missouri Valley. Woodhouse Chevy. Together, let's drive.
The Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. We're so grateful to our friends at Valentino's Pizza. They're back as a sponsor of the Sideline Slice, and Sirles is out of retirement, so we will be bringing you weekly appearances as a part of that podcast. So we recorded a lengthy conversation. I always shoot for like 20 minutes, and then we always end up going 30, I feel like, every single time, especially you get on the offensive line and he can get rolling, man. So we talked a lot about the offensive line today, naturally, but here is a portion of the Sideline Slice episode 1 of the 2025 season presented by Valentino's Pizza. I did want to get to it because, I mean, I've been referencing some of the things that you've said, but you were, I would say, the most pleased since I've known you with an offensive line going to a fall camp practice when you went out last couple weeks ago and saw this group. It was the most pleased I feel like I've seen you with this O-line group.
100%. I mean, since Coach Rule has taken over, this is by far the most complete offensive line I've seen him have, as far as from a starters and a depth perspective. You know, looking at the front 5 and going, okay, I can see the vision with guys like Elijah Pritchett and Rocco Spindler and Justin and Teddy and Gunner and Henry. And you're just like, okay, there's some dudes that have been here for a while that are starting to come into their own. There were some pieces that we need that we brought in, and it looks like a Big Ten offensive line, right? We have size, we have athleticism. And the day that I was there, they handed it to the defensive line. And I mean, I'm sitting there like just shaking with excitement, because when you're watching an offensive line move guys off the ball, climb to the second level, no free runners in the pass game, like that for me gives me so much hope with the weapons and with Dylan Raiola as the trigger man. If you can protect him and you can have a good complementary run game to the passing scheme that we're going to want to have, I am super excited to see where this offensive line can go.
It was funny. Per usual, we go to practice, and I was going to run to the restroom. I told him to go on in, and it was like a magnet. I know exactly where to find you if we get separated.
Yeah, go to the O-line corner, which is usually the farthest away from everybody else, right? Find the corner. I've always said this. Offensive linemen, we're like mushrooms, right? We don't grow well in sunlight. Right? Put us in the dark and feed us crap, and we're going to grow, right? And so you always kind of just put us in the corner, don't bother us, make us run over there, and we're going to thrive in our environment. But Coach Raiola has done a great job of continuing to develop guys in that room, bringing guys in from other programs and having them buy into the culture of what the offensive line at Nebraska means. And I'm really excited to see this group walk out there in the Kansas City Chiefs field and primetime Thursday night football and showcase what they've been working on since spring.
Look, I know, and it's got to be shown on game days, right? But you and I have been talking about this for 4 or 5 years now, just the process of when you have to build the depth. It just takes time, and it is finally coming to fruition. once Coach Rule took over and said, we don't have enough bodies in that room. I mean, you and I sat there on a signing day and we didn't sign an offensive lineman and you were panicking. Like, I thought I was going to have to give you one of those like paper bags to blow into, because you thought that is not going to be good. And then what did it do? It showed that it hurt this team for several years, just because those are the guys that would have been starting, last year and this year. And so you're finally able to build that depth. I mean, it's just, I feel like, I know we're a broken record, but it is finally now coming to fruition when you have to rebuild that kind of depth.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where it's no secret your team goes as your offensive line goes. So if that room is struggling to have bodies, to have development, to have depth, the rest of the offense is going to suffer. And I can vividly remember sitting on that signing day. It was one of the first things I did with you guys on the network. I mean, this was probably 4 or 5 years ago.
No, it was throughout an entire season. We had the slice, and then it was in December.
Was it the end of our first slice?
It was
the end of our first slice year?
It was in December after that first season. You were on the sideline. We had done the slice. And then at the end of that season, we did the signing day show because it was in December that year.
That was 21 then, right?
You, Greg, and me, we sat down and did that show in December of 2021. Yep.
Yeah, December 2021, right? And I remember like looking around as we're announcing the signings, and then Greg's like, well, and that's the Huskers class. And I was like, but hold on, we forgot some big bodies, didn't we? And he's like, nope. And you're exactly right. I mean, and Coach Rule has taken the opposite effect, right? He's going, we will build from the inside out. O-line, D-line, and then we're going to move our way out. And it shows that they put a huge emphasis on it by going and picking up 2 huge portal transfers in Elijah and Rocco, right? And then keeping the young guys developing and seeing some of those young guys that I came out and watched in the spring, and then seeing what they look like in fall camp. Shout out Corey Campbell. He's done some amazing work with some of those young guys and getting their bodies transformed in a short amount of time, which gives me a lot of hope for what those guys are going to look like in 2-3 years. Exactly like you said. Development in the offensive line room is paramount, because you can't live in the portal. Right? You don't want to live in the portal for offensive linemen. You want homegrown offensive linemen, guys that have been in your system for years. They understand the culture of the room. They understand the standard of the room, and then they can build within. If you don't have to go and get a portal offensive lineman every single year, you're doing something really right as a program.
This is also something that we've talked a little bit here and there, but you actually went through the same thing that Gunnar Gatula went through last year. Take us through some of the jumps that you expect to see. And he's currently still in a battle, but I think he's going to play one way or another, whether it's left tackle or right tackle. But just what starts to change when a guy gets thrown to the fire as a redshirt freshman, and then you're back for what you're now year 3, but your redshirt sophomore year?
Yeah, it's funny. Our paths have actually been extremely similar as far as we both started as redshirt freshmen. We both had soldier surgery as redshirt freshmen, missed our spring, and then went into our next year. But the big thing is when you have a year under your belt, you then can start really focusing in the offseason of what gave me trouble during the year. Was it my technique? Was it my strength? Was it my run footwork? Was it my hands? Right? Because you've now been tested and battle tested in real time against NFL caliber players, right? Granted, yes, you got to play against Ty Robinson and Nash Hutmaker on practice every day, right? But you're going against JTT at Ohio State, right? You're seeing first round edge rusher talent, and you're going, okay, this is what caused me issues. And I think Gunnar did a really good job of, hey, I know I can't practice in the spring, but he looks like he put on really good muscle mass. He looks like he stayed the same athlete that he is. And I'm really excited to see him get a chance to get back out there and watch that jump from year 1 to year 2 as a player and see it, because this is where if you see him take a big jump here, then you just anticipate him to continue to take those big jumps. And you hopefully say, okay, that guy looks like an NFL caliber player. That's what you want on your offensive line, right? And when I look at our offensive line right now, Elijah Pritchett looks like an NFL caliber player. Rocco Spindler looks like an NFL caliber player, right? I think Justin, if he continues to play well, he'll give himself a chance at the NFL this year with the way that I saw him play in practice this week. And then Henry, I mean, I've been high on Henry Lutovsky since the day he walked in the building.
Yeah, Greg even was doubting of you. People doubted you at the time, but you saw something in him from that very first practice. You saw Henry Lutovsky out there.
Yeah, and I mean, now I'm seeing him finally. I mean, it took a little bit longer than we wanted it to, but hey, if he's finally coming to his own, let's go, right? Let's get it. And now you're talking about having 4 of your 5 starters potentially being NFL caliber players. Like, look what won Michigan the national title. almost every single offensive lineman that was on that team is playing in the NFL right now, right? It's no secret. The best college teams have the most NFL talent. So if we can continue to get those guys and develop those guys and get them going there, and then you put a back like Emmett Johnson behind him and a quarterback like Dylan Raiola, that's going to be the secret to success this year.
Already getting you fired up. You're already
I know,
here.
man. It's too easy. It's just too easy to get me fired up with football, especially when I have no outlets. Not like I can be like, I'm going to go watch a football game. It's like, no, you got to hurry up and wait.
Well, okay, so in terms of just the moving around, and I think we've had this conversation between right guard and left guard, and people think, oh, it's so easy. But talk to us about the difference between left tackle and right tackle. Of course, Elijah played left tackle last year, right tackle moved over to left tackle is what he's currently playing. And then Gunnar Gatula is a guy that played left tackle, but maybe as we heard Coach Rule say, might move over to right tackle eventually. Just what is that like, and what is that process of like when you've been playing one and then you're switching over to the other?
Yeah, the biggest number one thing is, can you mentally handle it, right? That's the number one thing. Can you mentally handle flipping everything in your brain, from the hand that you strike with first, to the footwork that you step with first, to the play call that you're used to hearing being on the front side now means you're on the back side, right? It's so much of a mental gymnastics things first, that if you can master the mental side, then you can focus on the physical side, right? Which is equally as hard. I tell people all the time, I probably said on this show too, anyone that says, well, it's not that hard, next time you go to the bathroom, try wiping with your offhand and tell me how easy it is, right? From a guy that had shoulder surgery and had to do it with his left hand, not super easy, right? And so when you start trying to put it in perspective of flipping everything in your brain, it's really hard. But the good news is Gunnar has been practicing both, I'm sure. Right? I mean, I'm sure he's been playing left, he's been playing right. So it's not one of those things where he played left all camp and then all of a sudden you're like, hey, bump over to the right side. That's just not good practice. And I'm sure that Coach Raiola understands, hey, we need guys that can be a swing tackle. We need guys that can battle for both spots. So I'm sure he's been practicing both. And in the long run, it's just going to make me even more valuable to the team, right? If he is one of our best tackles, say he's starting at right, and the backup right tackle is better than the backup left tackle, and Elijah gets dinged this year, right? Knock on wood, I understand, right? Knock on wood, and Elijah gets dinged this year and has to miss a game or two. Well, then you can just go, hey, Gunnar's still one of our best tackles. Let's move him over to left and put our best backup in it right? So it just gives you so much more options when you have depth at that position.
So the key is just making sure you're getting reps at both.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Just making sure you're getting reps. And maybe that's post-practice. Maybe that's pre-practice. Maybe it's just in the one-on-one setting. It's not necessarily in the team setting, but making sure you're just continuing to get those reps that you need so that when your number does get called and you get the opportunity to go out there, you can make the best of it and show and put that next foot forward of saying, I am a starter in this league. I am a starter in the Big Ten. And once you've accomplished that hurdle, now I'm a contributor. I'm an all Big Ten player. I'm pushing to try and be an All-American, right? You just want to keep raising the bar when you're at that position. And the first step is showing I'm a starter on this team.
Again, that was just a portion of the conversation I had today with our very first episode of the season of the Sideline Slice presented by Valentino's Pizza, the official pizza of the Huskers. You can listen to that now. It's out now on our podcast platforms, our YouTube channel as well. Sirles loves that reference when he's talking about switching between left and right tackle guard, about the bathroom, going to the bathroom. It's like his favorite reference.
I loved his mushroom analogy, too, in the beginning. I think it's very apropos for an offensive lineman. The gritty nature of offensive linemen. They don't need sunlight, just feed them crap and throw them in the corner.
All right, we got to get to a break. Coming up next, our weekend winners. Keep it here on Sports Nightly.
At Woodhouse Ford, we're here to help you elevate your summer plans with a vehicle built for every destination. From the adventure-ready Bronco Sport to the rugged F-150, the entire Ford lineup is equipped with the latest technology and reliable safety features so you can drive with confidence. With flexible financing options and a seamless buying experience, it's easier than ever to get behind the wheel of your new vehicle from Woodhouse Ford. Shop our current offers online or visit us in-store at one of our 3 locations in Blair, Omaha, and Plattsmouth.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
I got to see my brother get married.
I would have missed my dad's birthday.
Because I wore my seatbelt, I had the privilege of being part of his special day.
I got to go home and see my family again.
Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
I was able to go to my brother's graduation.
I wouldn't have adopted my first pet.
And then it clicked. My seatbelt saved my life. Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Redefine your luxury shopping experience at Genesis of Southwest Omaha. Receive 2.99% APR for 60 months or 3.99% APR for 72 months on our 2025 Genesis GV80 3.5 Turbo Prestige models in stock. Plus, enjoy up to $5,000 loyalty or competitive owner bonus. With approved credit, tax title license extra, when financed with Genesis Finance. $299 doc fee due at signing. Offer expires 8/31/25. See dealer for details.
Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. Welcome back. Final segment here of this Monday evening edition of Sports Nightly. Before we get to our weekend winners, real quick, Art in Los Angeles. Kyle wants to know, what game are you most looking forward to calling this year and why? GBR.
I was asked that today, actually, in an interview. I would say probably the first one, because it's the most unique. It's the first game for me calling Nebraska football in an NFL stadium. Outside of that, I would say the first Big Ten game against Michigan at home probably stands out. And then moving forward, the USC blackout game, going to Penn State, and go on and on. But the first one for me.
All right. There you go. There you go, Art. Hope that answered your question. All right, let's get to it. Weekend winners. You got to go first last time because it was your first time. You're not going first today. Camden is going to go first today.
All right. I'll take going first.
I didn't prepare you, Camden. You can go up first today.
All right. Let me pull it up. I wasn't expecting to go first. Here we go. I got it. All right. So Tulane football is my winner, okay?
Okay.
And they posted on their X or Twitter account that guess how many meatballs they consumed during fall camp?
How many?
Well, throw a number out there.
I don't know, like
7,000.
10,880.
Wow.
Wow.
So they are my winner for eating.
It sounds like a nice Jersey Sunday Italian meal right there.
There
you
you
a
go.
meatball guy, Kyle?
Love a good meatball.
It's kind of like the shot challenge at the College World Series. Maybe we could start one of those meatball challenges.
I don't know how that would work on the radio, but that would be painful if we did that.
Well, I wasn't saying us. Like maybe that schools started participating in their own meatball challenge. I don't know. Nice.
Could do it.
All right, what do you got?
All right. Well, mine's not as good, but it has to do with the National Football League.
Okay.
Caleb Williams, I don't know if you watched the game last night. There's a Monday Night Football game going on right now as we speak. Made his preseason debut last night against Buffalo, played 13 snaps, 2 drives, 6 for 10, 107 yards, and a touchdown. Are the Bears back? I think the Chicago Bears might be back. He is my weekend winner.
That would make one Nick Hanley very, very
He's a Bears fan.
happy. Yes, he's a Bears guy.
He's also a Cleveland Guardians fan.
Yeah.
He's all over the place.
Yeah, he's had some disappointing years, so maybe this is the year for him in the Bears.
It might be. They won 38-0. They beat the Bills. It's preseason, but usually you don't see that lopsided of a score in a preseason game.
Well, you said it here first, Kyle Crooks. We'll see how that develops, that storyline.
I'm still just trying to get over my quarterback battle in Indianapolis of Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones.
I'm going to give my weekend winner to one Kelly Natter, setting the alumni squad. She was the one that helped assemble it. Once she got the call that they were going to do this, started making the calls out and sending out the bat signal for the alum, and then they gave them some competition, gave them some good looks, and so you can't do that without good setting, excellent setting. So it was great to see her back out there and captaining the alumni squad on Saturday.
I love it. So you went with the local flair.
I usually do. So you'll come to find I usually try to feature a Husker women. So
You're playing to the crowd. Me and Camden. Me and Camden, we're the true winners of the weekend.
All right. Hey, coming up tomorrow, our very first live volleyball show of the season. Danny Busboom, Kelly going to be here in studio. 6 o'clock hour. We'll also record episode of The Dig. So we've got lots of stuff coming up this week. We'll be here again full 2 hours tomorrow night here on Sports Night.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraskachiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
Because my mom wore her seatbelt that day, I get to hug her when I go home.
And then it clicked. Because I wore my seatbelt, I learned that one moment in time can change a person's life forever.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
The day we were hit was the second to last day of our high school careers.
We were about to graduate as best friends together.
And then it clicked. Because we wore our seatbelt that day, we still get to experience life together.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your basement and damaging your home. Mold, cracks, and of course visible water are just a few signs your basement is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
It's the summer sales event with the Ford Groom.
Sam, 30 seconds on the clock. The Ford Summer Sales Event.
Great time to buy.
Correct. What do we have amazing deals on this summer?
Ford trucks and SUVs.
Is Ford America's all-time best-selling auto brand?
Let me think. Yeah, it is.
3 for 3.
What do I win?
You get to work at the Ford Summer Sales Event.
Amazing. I think I was going to do that anyway.
You betcha.
Based on Automotive News Almanac historical data and industry-reported sales data from 1909 through 2024 CY.